What's really great is we have so many active people in the community who give back. And if you don't know Roy Wattanasin, he's just phenomenal, and I probably just butchered your name there. I'm sorry. I actually got it? Okay. Since my last name is Smith and people don't mess it. So I just want to remind people that while we have content sessions going on, our conversations need to be held at a lower volume, please, out of respect for our people who are presenting here. So one thing that we're never really told when we're part of career development is that we should be learning how to fail. We're always told how to succeed, or that we're going to be evaluated on succeeding. But one of the things that we have learned through all of the entrepreneurs that we've seen out there is that it's really great that they fail, and they fail really well. So I was really excited to see Roy's presentation on how to fail, because I think sometimes we do fail, and then we just sort of internalize it and we let it block us, rather than taking what information out of that failure and moving on. So I hope I haven't given away all of your presentation, but Roy, take it away. Tell us how to fail.
Great, thank you. First off, everyone, thank you for coming, especially during this time. Can everyone hear me well? All right, great, excellent. Okay, so yes, first off, I'd like to thank all the people that are here too, and also all the people, especially Catherine and actually the whole team that set up the Security B-Sides Las Vegas, especially this year, being in its 10th year. Yay! Clap of hands, 10th year. So pretty much today, I'm going to kind of talk about my experiences, and also over a long period career. I won't mention how long. And then also talk about some things that each of us can use right away. And then really I wanted to kind of give enough time for questions as well. And of course, if you have any other questions, let me know too. What I always like to do is I always put this disclaimer up. I'm not going to read it, but it basically says that I'm not, if I have any issues or if I have any things that are wrong, I'm not liable for it. And also, this presentation doesn't endorse any of the companies that I've worked at or am working with as well. And also, of course, if I mention any tools, you'll use in a legal, ethical manner as well. And again, there's no specific one way fits all for everyone. Results may vary as well. So first off, who am I? Obviously, that's not my picture. If you actually take a look at, there's this site. Remember, like maybe about like a month ago, 2 months ago, there was that Face app that everyone was using that mentioned that they wanted to see how old they would be in about 25 years, and then it had like all those privacy concerns. There's actually a website here called This Person Does Not Exist. It uses AI to actually design different, it uses different machine learning and algorithms to create different pictures of people who actually do not exist actually. Take a look at it. All of the slides, you don't have to take notes. They will also be made available too. But yeah, pretty much that's my Twitter, my Gmail as well. I've been in healthcare now for a long time. I also enjoy Internet of Things, IoT as well. And I love privacy and building local communities. Also at the same time, over 10 plus years, I co-created with my brother and I, and other people too, the healthcare informatics program at Brandeis University in Waltham, Massachusetts. It's a great experience, and I urge you, if you are teaching as well, especially teaching high school students or middle school students or vice versa, it's the best experience because you learn from them as well, and you can basically keep adding onto that, making your courses much better too as well. And also I've worked in multiple industries too, and also for the last 2 years, actually maybe 3 years, I also had a great opportunity to relocate it from Massachusetts actually to Hong Kong, and also working in Beijing, China as well, and actually to learn the language, and still learning Mandarin as well, but it's a great experience. So this is the agenda today. I already mentioned about experiences. I'm going to make it very simple, talk about my experiences, how I failed, what I did wrong, and hopefully you can see some of the lessons learned too. And also, I will mention some of the keys to being successful and really address any questions or answers too. So first off, I just wanted to kind of outline. So basically, during my first year of college, I it was the first time, being away, and I always loved computers, and I always like to tell the story that when I actually before I actually knew that my love for computers, I actually wanted to become a dentist. And what happened was that when I was away overseas, I had like a Swiss Army knife and I cut myself and I fainted for like 5 minutes. So I said, obviously blood or medicine was not for me, or dentistry was not for me, so I tried to pursue computers. But pretty much my undergrad year, since I was kind of away from the family, for example, I kind of like, partied too much, and did other things, that I won't mention as well. But pretty much the first college I failed, I flunked out, So, but that was my undergrad year, and after that, it was like I just changed my I changed my life all around, and I worked so hard. Basically, it took me about just an additional year to graduate college. I went to another college and I worked my way up while people were having relationships, having other things. I basically just kept taking classes every semester, even including the summer months as well. Anyway, so after the second try, of course, I was successful as well, and I did really well. And then after that, I actually started working in different companies, and I'll talk more about that in the next few slides. But what I also wanted to mention is that it wasn't until probably about 5 years of working in the different industries that I basically pursued my graduate degree. There I did really well, and then after that I became an adjunct faculty and created different courses too. But I just want to mention that. And again, I always want to mention for those, show of hands, how many people are teachers and educators as well? How many people are going to be or thinking about it as well? I really recommend it, because we need more people, especially from the industry, that know not only the theory but the typical books as well. We need to have the real value practitioners as well, teaching as well. But anyway, I just want to mention that. So this is some of the titles that I've had over the past few years. Obviously, titles don't really mean anything. I think for me, my perspective is that it really depends on what you can do for the company and how you can make it better. So for example, letter A is that I actually started out in IT help desk, supporting different IT infrastructures. And then after that, I went through became like a Windows system administrator, doing different Windows system admin stuff, right? And then after that, I became kind of like really telecommunications IT consultants, working for different companies. And over that time, I actually learned many different infrastructures, environments too. It's a great time because you're still young, and also you're probably traveling like 50% plus over the time. And then after that, I learned many different companies, architectures as well. It was a great experience. Of course, after that, it was kind of not until I came into Massachusetts, where I actually had like my first security analyst, official information security job. Before that, it was more like telecommunications, firewall, networking, Cisco, basically all the Cisco stuff, all the Cisco certifications. But if you go down the line, you can see kind of like the gradual stuff. And then a couple years ago, maybe like 6 years ago, I was lucky. I started working in Massachusetts for another institute, a very large educational academia institution, 3-letter acronym called MIT. And then I was doing at medical departments. I was leading their information security program. A lot of great, a lot of challenges as well. But anyway, and then of course after that, I also went to work in Asia Pacific. It was probably one of the great best experiences too. And then of course now I've been working back in healthcare and pharmaceutical as well as a security manager as well. But just want to mention that. These are some of the industries that I've been in consulting. When I say consulting is that, the reason I mention consulting is that it could be right for you, it could not be, but you get a large exposure of different industries in a small amount of time. You're kind of a consultant, so you're not a full-time employee, but you kind of get like a glimpse of the different environments too, and you can try to see what is good, what is bad about every industry too. And then also at the same time was in the finance, kind of like more procedure-based finance industry too, and then was in healthcare and then academia, and then back to healthcare as well. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? Okay, great. So next I wanted to kind of talk about, these are some of the keys to being successful. Again, these are keys from my experience, and again, there's no one size fits all, but for example, I think everyone that's here, especially at this time today, the first thing that you can do is, we've actually been, today I've actually had about over 5 to 6 people during the coaching sessions. It's a great experience, and I urge you, if you haven't taken advantage of that, feel free to either do also talk to the coaches. They have different perspectives as well, depending where they've been, experiences as well, and what they've had, things that work for them, things that have not worked for them. And also take a look at the resume review sessions as well. It's a great experience. It kind of, letting you know like what works, what does not work as well. And if you do have a great opportunity, how many people here have presented at BSides, or actually any security conference or any IT? Okay, great, excellent. So at BSides Las Vegas, there's a great mentoring program as well. If you're either new to the industry, or you want to get in the industry, or you just basically want to have a mentor to basically look at your work, or what you present, there's a great proving ground. It's awesome. It's been a great experience. I was part of that many years ago. It's an awesome experience as a mentor. So these are some ingredients. The first thing that I always look when I am looking for any new hires or intern or as well is the passion. So there's basically, you can have all the experiences, you can come from the best university, it doesn't matter. I always look for someone that's a team player that has the passion, someone that looks out of the box, for example. So for example, the desire fueled by passion will bring about the greatest results in life. That's what I believe. You can have, a lot of times people may ask about the certifications. It's great to have the certifications, but experience is also great too. But also having the additional skills, which I will also talk about more in the next few slides, is very important rather than that. So I just want to mention. Any questions so far about that? Passion or great? So of course, obviously, this was the thing that we did in 2014. But regarding passion, keep trying new things. Doesn't matter if you fail. Doesn't matter. You can keep trying as many times as I mentioned. When I was in my first time in college, I didn't really know how to do things, but I failed, and it's kind of like a vulnerable thing. But I'm sharing it. But I wanted to share with you to let you know that you're not going to be successful the first time that you do something. Obviously, it's easier to do it, fail the first time rather than doing it when you're in a higher position as well. But keep trying for new things. What I mean for that is that if things don't work out, or let's say things may not work out in terms of, let's say, an interview or something like that, but it's a great experience to interview with different companies, for example. And also at the same time, push yourself. Don't settle for anything less. What I always like to say is that learn to fail in order to succeed. So you fail, don't keep failing, but of course, after you fail, you know what lessons learned, and then be successful at it. And also, what I like to try to say is that, there's so many different, in the industry, you hear about that there's a huge gap with security, information security, etc. But there's so many people looking for new jobs, or for example, there's a lot of opportunities in information security. I believe that especially anyone who's technical, doesn't matter if they had an official information security job, you've dealt with some security challenges. Security is so huge, there's so many different avenues with it. So what I urge you to do is don't think like other security professionals, think outside the box. Think, when you're faced with a problem or an issue, think like what a red teamer would do, what a blue teamer would do, what a purple teamer would do, but think outside there too. That's why I try to inspire you about that. And also at the same time, when you do something, what I've learned is that doing the job completely. Don't just do it just for just for it to be complete. Do it fully as well. So I can talk more about that as well. So any questions on that? Right, great. Next thing has to do with networking. Obviously, you want to network really well with others. What I mean by that is this was probably a couple of months old slide, but there's about 7.7 billion people in the world. Please network with people. Since you're already here at the higher ground, you're already networking with people. Do more of that. I always like to say the 3 N's: network, 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 because that is actually where your opportunities, your projects, your actually other opportunities come out of as well. For example, let's say you're new to information security and you're trying to get information security for the first time, and you may not have some projects or some experience. One of the things that you can do is kind of to help the community is of course volunteer at the BSides Las Vegas or any other conference too, but also help with different open source projects, especially on GitHub, anything else as well. It's a great experience with that. And because in addition to that, you actually will get more confidence, and then after that, you might also meet other people that are interested in hiring you as well. So there's many opportunities for that. Next thing is really just, right, like I always like to say hallway con, right? It's the purpose of all these conferences is pretty much hallway con, right? You can go to the different presentations as well, but it's all about hallway con, right? Be nice, have fun, be nice how you would want to be treated by others too, and also listen and ask questions. It's nothing wrong with asking questions. Don't worry about any questions or dumb or anything like that. There's no such thing as any weird or dumb questions as well. Because you rather make the failures or the mistakes now when you're new rather than later. But I can talk about that more too. And the next thing is about investing in yourself. So for example, only you will know what is the best investment in yourself. So for example, obviously you might be in a team. You might have either one manager or multiple managers, but it's in your best interest to basically invest in yourself. What I mean by that is actually, trying to, every year, for example, any company, there's usually I think like tax deduction purposes, $5,250 that you can use toward your professional development as well. It depends on the company, it ranges, right? I just wanted to give an example. You can actually use that to go to different conferences, different things. Please use that, because if you don't use that, you lose it. And I think the companies are actually, I'm not a lawyer, it's weird, but they can deduct that much money as well. So you have to ask to be able to invest in yourself, because sometimes, of course, your manager or your managers, they will let you know, but it's in your best interest to let them know, kind of guide them of what things you're interested in and what things you want to do for professional development. Professional development can be technical, doesn't have to be technical, could be something else, as like teaching a class or a class of younger students or a class of older students. It all depends as well. Or a class of students that aren't technical, that's probably a great challenge as well. And also at the same time, show of hands, how many people have had mentors in your lives, whether it be technical or non-technical? Okay, great, excellent. So mentor, you don't have to only have one mentor. It really depends on which mentor you want to have. So for example, let's say you want to pursue something that, let's say you want to do like offensive security, for example. Maybe you want to mentor a senior veteran or more of a senior professional that is, that has been there and can give you some kind of lessons learned about offensive security. Also, at the same time, you probably want more mentors. The more mentors you have, the better. Maybe you probably want a mentor for presentation skills. Maybe you want a mentor for some communication skills, etc. as well. So it's okay to have many mentors. Most of the time, and most people ask, how do you get a mentor? Just ask. Ask if they have time. if they, take a look, you can take a look at read different blogs, participate. Of course, if there are no funds, for example, thank you. If there's no funds for basic training as well, just do like webinars as well. It's a free opportunity. Take a look at many of the different things. Those of you who are going to DEF CON, there's DEF CON groups as well around the world, around the States. Teach, present as well. Now I'm going to go really fast. Okay, so these are some skills. These are some kind of critical skills when I'm looking for, especially when I'm hiring. Leadership skills, but of course the first one is communication skills. All of these things, I won't read everything, but I really feel that negotiation, organization, team player, and interpersonal communication skills are really important as well. And then I'm just going to keep going really fast. Work-life balance. Obviously, information security, technology, in any industry, there's a lot of stress, mental health. Please, try to have a great exercise, eat the right foods, all of that. I'm just going to talk about that, right? Meditation as well, manage stress, and get enough sleep as well. And then pretty much putting it all together, I just wanted to mention that, passion, networking with others, investing in yourself, having the work-life balance, and also the additional skills, like I mentioned, communication skills, negotiation skills, etc. is very important. So now I wanted to actually entertain questions as well. And any specific questions? Yes, sir.
Do you have any advice for someone who's trying to bring hacking and information security to academia?
Yep. So the question was, do you have any advice for someone who's trying to bring information security or hacking into academia? So yeah, one of the first things that I would say is that there's actually a great Sam Bone. Sam Bone, he has all of his courses are actually all online. He does, kind of like a lot of malware, etc. I would say like you can actually use some of that. There's been like a lot of the professionals, the teachers, faculty, they've been trying to kind of like convene to find what is the right fit. And obviously it's different because every teaching environment or every college or university is different. But I would say you can use some of those too. And don't be afraid to kind of like go to any faculty members who is especially a security professional to actually ask him or her for the syllabus as well. And even if you're a new professional going to teach, you can actually learn from him or her and actually be kind of like a secondary instructor as well. So something like that I would recommend. So great question. Yep. Any other questions, concerns, or anything like that? Or yes, sir.
Any suggestions that you have to help a teenager sort of? So a teenager who is really interested in video games all the time, and that's kind of like all they do, right? Any suggestions that you might have to sort of bridge that gap from gaming to actually programming, whether it's programming games or getting into Infosec or whatever it is?
Sure.
Do you have any kind of suggestions that might be something that might kind of help that person kind of gain some interest?
Yep, sure, yeah. So, really quickly, yeah. So the question was someone who's into video games trying to get into information security. I would say try to tell them to break the video game. Yeah, as well. Or you've seen all those issues with some of these video games, right? The security, privacy issues. Something goes down. There's a lot of, depending if it's male or female as well, or different. I would say like there's a lot of these. I forget. Code for Classy. There's a lot of these different programs too that they're doing, especially I think yesterday, thank you. Yesterday there was the Women in Security Gala, all the top security professionals, I think the top 30, I forgot. And I would say, just go to like, depending what their ages are as well, bring them to these different conferences as well. I think there was another colleague, Jack Menino, who brought his either his son or daughter the first time. He was really excited about that, more than I think his son or daughter. I forgot. Sorry, Jack. But yeah, I would say something like that. Feel hack kids as well. Like the DEF CON has like the bringing the even younger generation too. There's so many opportunities too. So great question. Yep. Any other questions? I think I have 2 minutes, or maybe less than 2 minutes. Yep. Great. Thank you very much.